one more and we'll get to work.
All right. I think a lot of this issue that we see here is having to do with clearly defining goals. And Doug kind of threw a joke, kind of said the joke before we started this part. He said, I can sell $1 million product in 3 days or even less. Just give me $100 million in value, I can sell it for $1 million. So think about that. Yeah. So all of a sudden, when you start realizing, clearly define what you're trying to do, then all of a sudden, I think that a solution that we can talk about today is about structure. You did bring up process, and I think that's key too. For our table, we're going to talk about the process. I'm a marketer and a sales guy who views marketing and sales very much as education, and I think that's why Paul and I have connected so well over the years, is that marketing and sales is really about education. You're sharing an idea, you're selling a concept. I've worked with companies like Earthlink and Dish, and I want to build off of that because there's a real key that I think provides a lot of assurance to make goals and sales work, which is called loyalty. Questions for you. Is marketing a customer of sales? Is sales supposed to be reporting to marketing or supporting what marketing says? Or is sales the customer of marketing? Or is there really actually a third option? So does sales work for marketing? Does marketing work for sales? Or is there a third option? If marketing is about the brand definition, the price, the product, the promotion, then sales should simply be a tactic, like the website or a trade show, to get the word out, to get that message, that brand definition out. If sales is about nurturing relationships and completing deals, then sales should be the primary customer of marketing, providing product enhancement needs that the customers are asking for, or recommending what materials are needed, because this is the way we need to communicate. I'm suggesting that there's a third option, and that's what we're going to talk about at our table. Both need to be aligned through the guidance of a customer experience colleague, a person or a team that can focus on every touch point within the company and its prospects, its project, its current and former customers, to understand what message is being delivered, what tactics are used. We talk about social selling. All of this comes into play so that marketing and sales are aligned and supporting each other. Whether it's what's said online, what's at a trade show, and to me, what's been most obvious in the last several years is that every one of you is now representing your company off the clock. There really is no off the clock anymore. You go to a cocktail party, you're talking about what you do, all of a sudden you're part of your brand. You're also an opportunity to identify new leads or unhappy customers. All of that has to do with customer experience. Customer experience then should be able to provide guidelines and direction for how and what is said and what is done. So that you're creating, and this is the key, so that you're creating users and you're creating advocates. That becomes the new objective. And that becomes a new way of selling. When a business launches or expands its offerings, it starts defining a solution to a problem, and it then determines they can launch it, and then you've got a problem. Because all of a sudden people run off and there's one person producing it, there's one person selling it, one person supporting it, there's somebody doing billing. If they're not all together, if they're not all sharing the same message, the same brand value, they're not sharing what they're hearing from the marketplace about what change is needed, then you're not going to create users and you're not going to create advocates. The suggestion for our table will be, are these ideas practical and viable so that every one of your customers becomes your best source for your next leads?
Thanks, Hal. Being a sales guy, I'm not going to comment on who works for whom. but I'm dying to see what the insurance plan is for marketing. But we won't go there. I had to get on the record for all my friends. I think more important to think about and expand on what Hal was saying is if you really think about it, is closing the sale is really the first day of engaging the client. And I'll argue that it's not closing the sale that's important, it's getting paid on it. So it really extends more, right? At the end of the day, somebody in accounting is going to finally say, that doesn't count. It's going from all the work up to the sale, but it's increasing that alignment to the post-sales onboarding teams, the customer service teams, the client teams, which then tie into the upgrades and maintenance teams. It really is a closed-loop cycle across the entire organization. And if the entire ecosystem doesn't work, I'll suggest everybody's going to be at fault, and the results, we all know what happens. Lack of alignment, and magically sales go down.
And gets fired.
Yeah, and unfortunately the sales guy gets fired first, but that's a different